Have you ever walked into a bedroom, maybe even your own, and felt like everything was technically perfect, but somehow completely lifeless? The bed matches the knitstands. The knitstands match the dresser. The dresser matches the headboard. It's clean, coordinated, and put together. And yet it feels more like a furniture showroom than a place you actually want to relax in. And if that sounds familiar, there's a very good chance you bought what millions of Americans are still buying every single year, without a second thought. A matching bedroom set. Now here's the uncomfortable question most people never stop to ask. If matching sets are so popular, why do professionally designed bedrooms almost never use them? Why is it that the rooms you see in high-end homes, boutique hotels, and designer portfolios feel layered, interesting, and expensive, while matching sets, even expensive ones, often feel flat and dated within just a few years? The answer is not about price. It's not about brand. And it's definitely not about taste in the way most people think. It comes down to something much deeper: how the human brain processes visual variety, contrast, and storytelling within a space. And once you understand this, you will never look at bedroom furniture the same way again. Because here's the truth that the furniture industry has quietly built an entire business model around. Matching sets are designed to be easy to sell, not to look good over time. Think about the experience of walking into a furniture store. You're not shown individual pieces and taught how to combine them. You're shown a fully assembled set: of bed, 2 knitstands, a dresser, maybe a mirror, all in the exact same finish, the exact same style, the exact same proportions. It's simple. It's convenient. It removes decision-making. And in that moment, it feels safe. But that safety is exactly where the problem begins. Because when everything in a room matches perfectly, something subtle but powerful happens visually. The room loses tension. And tension in design is not a bad thing. It's the thing that makes a space feel alive. It's the contrast between light and dark, rough and smooth, old and new, that gives your brain something to engage with. When every piece of furniture is identical in tone, material, and style, your brain processes the room instantly, and then loses interest just as quickly. This is why matching bedrooms often feel like they lack personality. There's no visual hierarchy, no focal point, no sense that the room evolved over time or reflects a person's life. It looks like it arrived in a single delivery truck on a single afternoon, and your brain can tell. Now, compare that to a well-designed bedroom. The bed might be upholstered in a soft fabric. The knitstands could be in a contrasting wood tone. One lamp might be ceramic while the other is metal. And the dresser might introduce an entirely different texture or era. Nothing is random, but nothing is identical either. And that difference is everything. Because what you're actually responding to in those spaces is a sense of curation. It feels collected, intentional, like someone made a series of thoughtful decisions rather than one bulk purchase. And that feeling, whether people can articulate it or not, is what separates a room that feels done from a room that feels designed. Now here's where it gets really interesting, because this isn't just a design preference. It's a pattern that repeats across decades of interior trends. If you look back at what consistently becomes dated, it's almost always the overly coordinated look. Think about the all-matching wood sets of the early 2000s. The heavy, identical pieces that dominated entire bedrooms. At the time, they were considered high-end, complete, finished. And now, they're one of the clearest visual signals that a space hasn't been updated in years. And the reason they age so quickly is exactly the same reason they feel flat today. They lock a room into a single moment in time. When everything matches, there's no flexibility. No room to evolve. You can't swap out one piece without it breaking the entire set. You can't introduce a new style without it clashing. So the room stays frozen while everything around it moves forward. And this is where most people get stuck without even realizing it. They don't hate their bedroom. Nothing is technically wrong with it. But it doesn't excite them either. It doesn't feel like it reflects who they are now. It feels like something they bought, not something they built. So the question becomes, what do you do instead? Because avoiding matching sets is one thing, but replacing that with something that actually works is where most people either succeed or end up creating a space that feels chaotic instead of curated. And this is where we need to shift the way you think about furniture entirely. Instead of thinking in terms of sets, you need to start thinking in terms of roles. Every piece in your bedroom has a job. The bed is the anchor. It's the largest visual element, the one your eye goes to first, the piece that defines the tone of the entire room. Everything else should support it, not duplicate it. Your knit stands? They're not there to match the bed, they're there to frame it, to create balance on either side. And here's where one of the simplest but most powerful upgrades comes in. Your knit stands do not have to match each other. This is something that feels wrong to a lot of people at first, because we've been conditioned to think symmetry equals good design. But in reality, asymmetry, when done intentionally, is what creates interest. One knit stand might be slightly larger, the other slightly smaller. One might have drawers, the other might be more open. As long as the overall visual weight feels balanced, the difference actually makes the room feel more dynamic. And the same principle applies to materials. If your bed is wood, your knit stands don't need to be the exact same wood tone. In fact, they probably shouldn't be. Mixing wood tones, light with dark, warm with neutral, adds depth. It breaks up the monotony. It gives the room layers. Now, I know what some people are thinking at this point. Okay, but if nothing matches, how do I make sure it doesn't look like a random mess? And that's the right question, because the goal here is not randomness. It's cohesion without uniformity. And that comes down to a few simple anchors that tie everything together. Color is one of them. You don't need everything to be the same color, but you want a consistent palette. Maybe your room leans warm, soft beiges, warm woods, brass accents. Or maybe it leans cooler grays, blacks, muted tones. The individual pieces can vary, but they should feel like they belong to the same conversation. Shape is another anchor. If your bed has clean, modern lines, your knit stands and dresser should echo that simplicity, even if they're different materials. If your space leans more traditional, curved edges and softer forms can carry through across different pieces without them needing to match exactly. And then there's spacing, the invisible element that most people overlook completely. When furniture is too tightly grouped, it feels cluttered. When it's too spread out, it feels disconnected. But when spacing is intentional, even very different pieces start to feel like they belong together, simply because of how they're positioned. Now here's where this starts to turn into something you can actually act on. Because the biggest mistake people make when trying to move away from matching sets is doing everything at once. They replace the bed, the knit stands, the dresser all in a single shopping trip, and end up recreating the same problem in a slightly different form. The smarter approach, the one designers use, is layering over time. You start with one piece, usually the bed. That's your foundation. Then you bring in knit stands that complement it, not copy it. Then maybe you swap out a dresser later, choosing something that adds contrast rather than repeating what's already there. Each step builds on the last, and over time, the room starts to feel more and more like something that was assembled with intention rather than purchased in a package. And here's the part that most people don't expect. This approach is often cheaper, because when you're not locked into buying a full set, you can mix price points. Maybe you invest in a quality bed frame, but find unique knit stands secondhand. Maybe your dresser is something you already own, but you update the hardware to tie it into the new look. You're not paying for uniformity, you're investing in impact. And that shift from uniformity to impact is what changes everything. And once you start thinking in terms of impact instead of matching, something else begins to happen. You become far more selective about what actually deserves to be in your space. You stop asking, does this match? And start asking, does this add something? And that single shift is what separates a room that feels intentional from one that feels assembled. Now let's go deeper, because this is where most people either unlock a completely different level of design, or fall back into old habits. One of the biggest misconceptions about mixing furniture is that you need a designer eye to pull it off. That it's some kind of instinct you either have or you don't. But in reality, what looks like instinct is almost always a set of repeatable patterns. And once you know those patterns, this becomes a process, not a guess. The first pattern is contrast with control. Every well-designed bedroom has contrast, but it's controlled contrast. That means you're not just throwing together different styles randomly. You're choosing one dominant style, and then introducing one or two complementary differences. For example, if your bed is modern clean lines, minimal detail, your contrast might come from something slightly more organic or textured. A knit stand with a natural wood grain. A woven bench at the foot of the bed. A ceramic lamp with a soft, imperfect shape. Those pieces don't match the bed, that they make it look better by comparison. On the other hand, if your room leans more traditional, your contrast might come from simplifying certain elements. Maybe your dresser is classic and detailed, but your knitstands are more minimal. That tension between ornate and simple creates balance. The key is restraint. You're not trying to mix 5 different styles. You're creating a conversation between 2. Now let's talk about one of the most underrated tools in this entire process: repetition without matching. This is where you subtly repeat elements across different pieces, so the room feels connected, even though nothing is identical. Maybe the black metal from your lamp shows up again in your drawer handles. Maybe the warm wood tone of your knitstand echoes in a picture frame or a bench. Maybe the fabric from your headboard is picked up again in a pillow or a throw. Your brain picks up on these repetitions subconsciously. It registers them as cohesion. And that's what allows a room with completely different furniture pieces to still feel unified. Now here's where we address the emotional side of this. Because for a lot of people, the hesitation isn't just about design. It's about fear of getting it wrong. Matching sets feel safe because they remove the risk of making a bad combination. But they also remove the possibility of creating something great. And this is where you have to understand something important. A room doesn't become interesting because every choice is perfect. It becomes interesting because the choices are personal. Because there's variation. Because there's a sense that someone made decisions, adjusted, refined, and built something over time. That's what people respond to. Not perfection personality. Now let's make this practical. Because at this point you're probably looking at your own bedroom differently. You're noticing what matches. You're noticing what feels flat. And you're wondering where to start without tearing everything apart. So here's a simple, high-impact sequence you can follow. Step 1. Break the symmetry. If you currently have matching knitstands, don't replace both. Replace one. That's it. Introduce a single piece that's different in shape, material, or tone, but still within your overall color palette. This immediately disrupts the set feeling without creating chaos. Step 2. Change one material. Look at your room and identify the dominant material, usually wood. Then introduce a secondary material that contrasts with it. Metal, fabric, glass, stone. This could be a lamp, a bench, a tray, or even hardware. That one change adds a layer your room didn't have before. Step 3. Add one unexpected element. This is where personality comes in. Maybe it's a vintage piece. Maybe it's something slightly oversized. Maybe it's a chair, a stool, or even artwork leaning instead of hanging. This element should feel intentional but not predictable. And step 4. Edit. This is the step most people skip. Once you start adding variation, you also need to remove anything that no longer fits. Because mixing works best when the room isn't overcrowded. Space is what allows contrast to stand out. Now here's something that might surprise you. Once you break away from matching sets, your room actually becomes easier to update over time. Because now, nothing is locked in. You can swap a knitstand without affecting the rest of the room. You can change a lamp, update a bench, rotate decor, and the space evolves with you instead of staying frozen in the year you bought it. And that's ultimately the goal. Not just a bedroom that looks good today, but one that continues to feel relevant, personal, and adaptable years from now. Because the most embarrassing thing in home design isn't having bad taste. It's having a space that clearly belongs to a past version of you. One that you've already outgrown. And matching bedroom sets. They do exactly that. They lock you into a single moment, a single decision, a single version of your style, and they make it harder to move forward. So if there's one thing to take away from this entire video, it's this. Stop trying to make everything match, and start trying to make everything matter. Every piece should earn its place. Every choice should add something. And when you approach your bedroom that way, the result isn't just more visually interesting, it feels more like you. Now here's what I want you to do next. Take a look at your bedroom tonight, not casually, but intentionally. Ask yourself, what in this room is here because it was part of a set? And what is here because I actually chose it? That question alone will show you exactly where to start. And if this video shifted how you see your space even a little, then you already know this channel is about more than just decorating. It's about understanding the principles that make spaces feel better to live in. So every decision you make from here on out becomes easier, smarter, and more impactful. So subscribe, stay consistent with these ideas, and start building a bedroom that doesn't just look put together, but actually feels alive.